Then last weekend I went back to the flea market that I had gotten some good deals on, and I'm now a regular at this guy's booth, and bought some tools from him. And this time around, he had just brought in an estate he had bought, and the story there goes that the guy died and they were cleaning out the estate, and apparently this guy and his brother, the two of them were hoarders. And they had a habit of going to the store, and when stuff went on really good sale, they just bought it whether they needed it or not. They just bought multiples. So he had, probably 10 or 15 cardboard boxes on the ground that just were loaded with petrochemicals, we'll call it. Oils, grease, stuff like that. And what he had a ton of, and I took more than I'll need for a long time, is two-stroke oil. So basically, to begin with, he said pretty much he figures about $1 a piece for all of the items in the box. And then, he also figured that, if I bought enough stuff, he's like, put together a pile, we'll talk about it type of thing. So I ended up paying, like on some of these, I paid $1 a piece, but that was actually more. I've got quarts of stuff I'm going to show you in a minute. So when I got down to this stuff, when I got into these little bottles here, I got these for like 25 cents a piece, so like 4 for $1. So I've got quite an assortment here. Here's Easy Mix Briggs & Stratton 2-stroke oil. So this one bottle treats 1 gallon of gas. This is for people who don't want to go through the hassle of measuring. So if you buy it in bulk, the bigger containers, like I buy the Quicksilver for my outboard motor. I get that by the gallon. That's about $35 a gallon. But I got to measure it out. Well, this stuff, these here, you just pre-mix them. So 1 gallon of gas, dump this whole bottle in, and it's going to be the perfect mix for like my chainsaws, weed whackers, and stuff like that. Most of these oils I've got here are for air-cooled. So that's good to check on that. I'll have to check. Like, this is synthetic. This includes fuel stabilizer, synthetic 2-cycle engine oil by Craftsman Professional. So, entire contents to 1 gallon. Doesn't really say, doesn't specify. But the reason why I mention that is because the 2-stroke oil you want to run in outboards tends to be a different formulation, my understanding is, than the air-cooled formulation. Take that for what it's worth. Hell, I know some old guys that are running motor oil mixed with gasoline as their premix and claim that it's no big deal. But, they got all these formulations out now. This one here, look at this one. This is Opti 2 Smokeless E-GD Plus Enviro Formula 2-cycle engine lubricant. One mix for all 2-cycle engines. So this one, apparently they're claiming that this will... all 2-cycle engines. Reduced smoke and fumes. That's what you get with a lot of these newer formulations. Especially when you're outboard. It's kind of nice when you're out there and you don't have a lot of smoke coming out of the thing. Lower operating temperatures, reduced braking, much greater horsepower, yeah, right. Drastically extended engine life. Well, this doesn't necessarily say. This doesn't say air-cooled versus water-cooled like your outboards. Ryobi exact mix. This is 6 gallons, but it's got the measuring thing. This is kind of a nice little thing they came up with here. You push this and it fills that up, and then you dump that and it dumps out of here only. So it's got a built-in measuring cup. Echo premium 2-stroke with fuel stabilizer, 5 gallons. That, going to measure that out, but it's got the thing on the side. Briggs & Stratton, I already went through that one, right? No, that's a different one. So what's that one? That's 50 to 1, 1 gallon. So, some bigger ones here. Ashless 2-cycle oil with fuel stabilizer. And then these were the only 2 bottles I found in there. Premium outboard and multi-purpose 2-cycle oil. This is what you generally is approved for outboards. So this makes Looks like this bottle makes 6 gallons. Not quite sure. Let's see, the 16 ounces in here, and according to this, if you're shooting for a 50-to-1 mix, 6 gallons. So 12 gallons of outboard fuel I can mix up with these 2 bottles here. I like my Quicksilver, but it's so darn expensive I wouldn't be opposed to running that occasionally. Then there was other oil there, and you know, at a buck a quart roughly, even the cheapest oils there, I figured I'd take a chance on. Here's this one's actually, I think, opened. Nope, I just opened it, so that wasn't opened. Okay. Honda Power Equipment 10W30 genuine Honda oil. Boy, I'll tell you, you can bet you overpay when you buy this at the power equipment place because it's got the Honda name on it. But my thinking was, hey, it's just good quality 30 weight 10W30 oil for my power equipment, lawnmowers and such. You know, something like that. Craftsman 4-cycle engine oil. Do you really need to buy 4-cycle engine oil for your lawnmower? But they sell this at Sears. You know, but I didn't pay much. I only paid $1 a piece for these. Castrol Super 2-stroke multi-purpose motor oil. Okay. Now when I first bought this, because it was a quart, I actually thought this was crankcase oil formulated for like 2-stroke motorcycles and stuff. And then I realized after I bought it, 50-to-1. This is more premix. This is Castrol Super 2-stroke multi-purpose motor oil. It goes on to say all the great stuff it can do. Recommended for both premix and injector systems. Pre-diluted for better fuel mixing. Contains a dye mixing reminder. Yada yada yada. Tells you about the standards that it meets or exceeds. So I got 1, 2, 4 quarts of that for $4. Another warranty certified lawnmower oil. Oh, okay. You don't want to void your warranty on your Craftsman lawnmower by not using the certified oil. Found 1 quart of Castrol Dextron 3 automatic transmission fluid, and 1 quart of Castrol heavy duty 40 weight. So this is just straight 40 weight oil. Turbo approved. I could throw that right in the crankcase on the old Oliver diesel. That diesel's not going to care. It's just going to burn most of it out anyways. Another stray. Only 1 quart I found of this. GTX 5W20. That's a light oil there. Got that for $1. Got this for $1. Slick 50 Advanced Formula Engine Treatment. So it's the 2-pack. It's got the, you do your drain and fill on your crankcase and put this in the crankcase, and then it's got the fuel system formula comes with it for free. So you top off your gas tank, I believe, and dump that in. We'll probably throw that in the old 03 Dodge Dakota and try and extend the life on that puppy there. This actually has been proven to actually work. I actually know a guy who swears that his gas mileage went up when he did the oil treatment. He used a different product, but it was a similar idea. Reduces friction in the engine. But anyways, I think this is like at least $30 or more in the auto parts store. I don't know if there's a shelf life. I mean, this might be pretty old, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think I got to worry about it. Got that for $1. Castrol Syntec full synthetic motor oil, 5W30. $1 a quart. Took all 14 quarts that he had. When we were talking about, I was putting together the pile and everything, he was talking about $1 a piece, and then he spotted it. He says, "Oh, you took the synthetic, huh?" I says, "Yeah, you can't do the synthetic for $1 a quart." And he said, nah, he says, you're buying plenty. So he gave them to me for $1 a quart. So if it seemed like I paid a little bit too much for all that 2-stroke oil, that's going to be canceled out by the killer deal I got on this this full synthetic motor oil. Oh, I just hit myself in the back. All right, so this is all that synthetic that I bought, and then there were other things in there in those boxes. And here's a cartridge of Castrol multi-purpose chassis grease. Got that for $1. Then there were some tools, brand new. He had actually already sold one of these, he said. He said, yeah, that's kind of neat, huh? Remote starter switch by Lisle, L-I-S-L-E. And what this is this is just a handheld thing with a big push button on the top and a couple of wires and a couple of alligator clips. And what you do is you clip this on your solenoid in your old vehicle that you're working on. And now you can stand there and remotely trip the starter. And I thought, geez, you know how handy that would come in, like when I'm working on the tractor or on one of the outboards or something. Instead of having to go up front and hit the key, I could actually stand near the back where the motor is, or up near the front where the motor is, depending on what the situation is, and use this thing. So that's going to come in handy. So I like that. Got that for $1. Pretty much $1 on most of this stuff. Some of this stuff I was like, oh, geez, hose removal pliers. They're specially designed so that one end of the V will actually kind of like stick on the metal part of the rod, and then you squeeze this and it helps you pop. When you've got a rubber hose that's going over a metal line and you want to pop that hose off the barb, that's what this is basically going to be for. And this is the kind of thing that I've done without for years, but it sure would be a handy thing to have. And what the heck, for $1, brand new, you betcha, took that. 4-ounce cutting and tapping fluid, Craftsman cutting and tapping fluid. He told me there was some machinist stuff, some micrometers and stuff. We went through all the boxes and could not find it, so that might pop up next week, I don't know. But there was another guy looking through boxes with me, and he heard me talking about the machinist stuff. He says, you need any tapping fluid? And when he said, geez, you need any tapping fluid, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be awesome if he just found some quarts of Tap Magic that I could get for $1 a piece. But next thing you know, he hands me these little bottles. And I was like, I didn't even know Craftsman had cutting and tapping fluid. Look at these little bottles here. I think I paid $1 for the pair. I'll end up using that. Parts brush, brand new. Probably get that for like $1. Threw that in, piled it on. Same thing with that was only $1.99 new. That's just some alligator clips, wires with alligator clips. Good for when you're doing quick testing and stuff like that, working on electrical. Overhead valve spring compressor, Calvan Tools. I got this for $2. Price is right on here. ADAP. Anybody remember ADAP? I think that is Advanced Auto Parts, maybe. $21.99 was the original price on that. Overhead valve spring compressor tool. $2. Never know when that might come in handy. He had a couple of tubes of this. I only got one because I thought, well, I don't know how many motors I'm going to be putting together in my lifetime. Lubriplate number 105 motor assembly grease. This is for when you're putting together a new motor after rebuilding it and it's got absolutely no oil in it, and you want to pre-lubricate those surfaces so that upon startup, before the oil gets a chance to circulate through all the bearings and everything, it's not running dry. And so I thought that was definitely worth $1 for a tube of that. He asked me if I knew what this was when I told him that I wanted to buy it. I said, I have absolutely no idea. I said, to me it looks like it just started out its life as a piece of hexagonal aluminum stock and then somebody turned it down. I don't know whether or not they had a special purpose for this. This was a specific tool for something or a project they started working on and stopped, or if it started its life like this. Maybe this is a tool just the way it is and I just don't know what it is. All I looked at it was a nice hunk of aluminum right there. If I want to turn a project, I need a piece of aluminum stock, so that was worth $1 to me. Oh, last item in this box. So I did find this box, this tap set. in the little wooden box, and bottom of the box is broken, but I'll add that to the pile of taps. And quite a few people started coming around and going through boxes, and it was kind of a feeding frenzy there, so I had to start putting stuff aside and focusing on looking through things more quickly. And what ended up happening was I ended up just piling up some boxes that I wanted to go through, and I was basically saying that's my pile, if anybody asked, to keep people from putting their noses in here and grabbing stuff that I wanted. And then occasionally I'd find something in another box and I'd throw it in here. And then when it came time to cash out, I was going to look through this box, but then he just kind of looked in the box quickly and didn't see anything in there really to get too excited about, and gave me such a good deal on the stuff that I didn't even bother going through. So there's probably some stuff in here I don't even want, but I figure, what the heck? Like, for instance, when I came across this box, I opened it up and I went, oh, all right, some drills and some junk. But I said, there's probably some junk in there. So I was going to go through it, but I got the thing for like $5, I think. So I said, what the hell, you know? There's an adjustable reamer right there, a little one. Looks intact. There's a little Morse taper drill bit. Looks pretty good. And just a bunch of drill bits for the most part. Nothing to get too excited about. Center drill that is not broken and looks sharp. Matter of fact, that might not even be used. I don't know. Like that. That's a. I think I spotted that in the box. That's what made me pick the box up in the first place. So keep that open. Here's a here's an item that was in the box that I probably care less about, but it just came with it. This is the Apex Keen Edge glass cutter knife sharpener. So looks like the deal here is this acts as a handle, so you can sharpen knives in here. And this must be an adjustable. I don't know what that is. And then on this side, there's a cutter wheel for cutting glass. So this is, you know, something I could do without, but it was in there. What the heck. Here's a plastic holder for a hex key Allen wrench set that has absolutely no... Oh, wait, I almost threw this out. They're in there. Ha! They're so tiny. All the really small ones are still in there. Okay. This, I believe, is a grass cutting blade. I believe this goes on your weed whacker and it's for cutting grass. In other words, there's no cutting edge to speak of on this side. I think all the cutting is just done on these points. And it's still got the protective cover on. It looks brand new, unused. But yeah, I don't even know if that'll fit my... I don't think that'll fit my... That's probably for a craftsman or something. I don't know, that might fit. I don't know. Well, anyways. I got that blade. Calvan, another Calvan tool. This one was marked down at the store already to $5.35. I paid $1 for it. Brake and small engine, 3-stone hone. This is a little envelope just full of, it says OMC with a part number on it, but it's just full of a whole bunch of O-rings. This, at first glance, looked like an empty envelope, but then I noticed that it said Cobalt 1/32 drills on here. That ain't no 1/32. That sucker is tiny. Alright, that's got to be the smallest drill I own now. Smallest drill bit. That thing is tiny. Looks like there's 2 in there, and I think I heard one drop in the box here while I was goofing off. File card. Nicholson file card. That's for cleaning your files. I had been meaning to get one of these, so I was happy to see that. Let me get to this. I actually bought it. I went to another flea market that I hadn't been to previously and didn't find pretty much anything in the whole place. And then I found one lady who had mostly antiques, but she had one little pile of tools, and I spotted this valve spring compressor. I don't see a maker's name on it. It says number 19063, so I'm sure I could Google that and find out who makes it. It actually seems like a pretty decent valve spring compressor, probably for small engine. I got, she asked me, she said, well, what do you give me for it? I said, I'll give you $5. And she said, yeah, okay. So I like that for $5. That's a nice little, seems like a pretty decent made one. It's a good sized drill bit there. I came across these rods, and it occurred to me that maybe, just maybe, these rods are for an indicator set, stand set or something. Not sure. These two appear to be completely unmarked. This one actually has a flat ground on it right here. And then there's a number stamped in that area, 63340 maybe? I don't know. But if the diameter's right, I could probably use those for that, you know, for dial indicators or something. This little sucker right here, I believe this is for marking cloth when you're laying out cloth. Boy, a lot of people aren't going to have any idea what I'm talking about. Back in the day when you could buy patterns for making dresses, you would buy the material and you would buy these patterns. You would lay out the pattern on the material, and then you would go over the lines with this thing, and it would mark the cloth so you knew where to cut it. Then you would cut all your pieces, and then you would sew them together on a device called a sewing machine, boys and girls, and you would make your own dresses. I think that's what that is, because I remember my mother having a tool just like that. Now, there may be another use for that I'm not aware of, but I believe that that's what that is. That is a big old star point chisel, which I believe is for, this is a Miller's Falls company. Oh, that's a good one. But I believe this is for working in stone. Vermont American No. 2 screw extractor. Use 3/16 inch drill to remove 3/8 inch screws. So I think what you do there is you drill a 3/16 inch hole down the middle of the screw head, and then you tap this into the hole and then use a wrench to turn that and get the screw out. Sound right? Sure, why not? Can always use the plug. Here's a nice little envelope filled with, hey, this whole envelope is just filled with studs. I'll go with the hardware. He had a whole bunch of toolboxes there. And I'll tell you what, he had a whole bunch of toolboxes there, and he only had keys for a couple of them. This is a box, an envelope of miscellaneous springs. That might come in handy. There's a countersink. But look at all these keys. Oh my. Let's see. Some of these keys are obviously not going to have anything to do with toolboxes, but some of these might. Alright. Those two look like house keys. Those two, I don't know what those keys are for. That's a master lock key. I can throw that one right away because I know I didn't get any master locks with this stuff. I'm going to get to these keys in a minute. Little hammer. Little mallet. Here's something I didn't even notice was in there. This is a Master Mechanic brand socket extension. Oh, this I did spot. Pulled it out of another box and put it in here. Another one of these nice little punches. This is a Starrett. LS Starrett punch. So I got a few of those already, so if that's not a size I already have, then that'll be a nice score. I was using these Q-tip boxes for holding drill bits in that. Alright, so there, see that? Look at all those tiny little drill bits there. Not as small as those other ones I saw, but pretty small nonetheless. So the rest of what's in this box, with the exception of an Energizer 386 battery, which may or may not be any good, and a bi-pin bulb, which looks like the kind that's used in your mag light type flashlights maybe. The exception of that, all that's left in this box are drill bits. Quite a few. See that. And there's some doozies in here. Look at these nice little suckers. They're small diameter, but look how long they are. I just realized how weird it sounds for me to get so excited about that. Hey, you don't know me. Maybe I just am a weird guy. Here's a tap that is elastic banded to a couple of drills. I wonder if that's pilot hole, finish with that drill, and then tap. Maybe that's what he was doing there. And that's a tap with a long shank on it. There's a homemade job there. I wonder how true that runs. Actually seems pretty good. Somebody had skills. This little Q-tip box is pretty heavy. Full of drills. Chock full. Boy, I don't need any more drill bits, but I got a steal on those. For sure. This one's not chock full, but it has quite a few drills. Ah, another center drill there. That's a broken drill. Small center drill there. Just dump that out to see if there's anything really good. Nah, it's just some drills. Nothing to get too excited about. Ooh, that drill didn't fall all the way down to the bottom of the box. I can actually get that out. Alright, good.